Hi Carlos, this is Brad. I'm 890 kilometers in. I'm halfway through my run. I've just passed Sherwood Forest where Robin Hood and the boys were at, and they've planted 5 trees for me so far. And I have about 4 other postcards that I can post and I will post. And other than that, everything's pretty good here. And training's going pretty good. So I hope you're well, my friend. Have a great night. Bye.
So we have a good show for you this week. It's got a bit of everything.
Time 7 minutes.
Plus some Brad. Some of Brad's updates from New Brunswick. He is running from John O'Groats to Land's End as a virtual. And up till now he's done over 800 kilometers, which is about halfway on his quest. I think he did most of it on the treadmill. I'm running on the Galloping Goose Trail. Well, in fact, it's the Lochside Trail. Pretty soon it'll become the Galloping Goose. I hope you enjoy the show. It's a pleasure to put these things together. So, sit back and enjoy. Bye-bye. So hello everybody. I'm just hiking up Harrop at the moment on Mount Doug. Just hitting the steep stuff. This is where my heart rate will start to spike. I'm working out about as hard as I work out when I'm running, but I'm moving a lot slower. But my heart will give you the clue as to the benefits that I'm getting.
Average pace 10 minutes 53 seconds per kilometer.
And I would like you this week, or this time, to talk about one or more of your other passions. Mine include photography, cooking, recording audio. That's another one of my all-time passions. But today, it's all about the hard, hilly hike.
Average heart rate 139. Workout average pace 11 minutes 9 seconds per kilometer.
139. Those are the numbers that I get when I'm running. I still haven't stopped. But up I go. 2 minutes recorded. Another 3 to go. There's a parting in the ways of the ways. Here, I take the left fork and continue to hike up Harrop, one of the subsidiary trails of Harrop. They all end up meeting on the main.
Time 23 minutes. Average heart rate 142. Workout average pace 11 minutes 25 seconds per kilometer.
On the main ascent. I'm going to try and do an out and back. So I'm going to have to look out for these turns that I'm making. because today is supposed to be 5 kilometers total. So now we have the steep climb. So I'm in the middle here. There's one girl ahead and one girl behind. And we're all working it here.
Time 24 minutes. Average heart rate 142. Workout average pace 11 minutes 36 seconds per kilometer.
Hello. I'm listening out for the halfway to my goal, which will be 2.5k in. Then I'll come back this way. Which should be considerably easier. I'm about to be passed by a stronger hiker. So I'm almost at the highest point of my hike today.
Average heart rate 146. Workout average pace 11 minutes 47 seconds per kilometer.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Morning.
Now I go down.
Hard part's over.
The hard part's over. All right. So there's my 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody. Carlos wanted a recording. I will try to keep this to 5 minutes about our other passions. And yes, I'm growing while I'm doing this, but that's not one of the other things I was passionate about. And I was trying to think of one to talk about. I came up with 3. And I'll say, besides running, which is obviously number 1 if you know me, but number 2 through 4 we'll put those together. But the other one I will mention is the Cleveland Browns. I'm a huge fan of theirs. Never miss a game. Go out of my way to watch it. Go watch with Cleveland Browns backers when that was a thing. When you were allowed to go places like that. Hopefully that'll be back. Maybe for next season. And second thing should come as no surprise. I'm going to say podcasting. I've been a long time listener to podcasts. I've probably been listening to, I remember listening to Chris Russell and Steve Runner and all these other podcasts, running podcasts, for over 10, 12 years. Many, I was trying to think how you'd put it, probably forgotten. Well, Chris Russell probably knows more about running than most of us. And I've probably forgotten more of his podcasts, so I could probably go back and re-listen to them, but there's so many of them, I don't know if that's a very feasible thing to do. And I still basically listen to a variety of running podcasts, but I have a few other things spiced in there, which would bring up to my third thing I was going to mention, and that's Sherlock Holmes. I've always been a fan of his, but the last couple of years I've become a huge Sherlockian, or whatever you want to call it, big fan. Reading more of the books. I've started listening to 3 or 4 different Sherlock Holmes podcasts and watching all the movies that I had either saw many years ago or I got plenty of time. I keep rowing. And rewatching them or seeing ones that I had missed, or rewatched, started Jeremy Brett in the Sherlock Holmes series from the 1980s. Luckily, thanks to things like BritBox and Amazon Prime, I'm able to see so many of this. So, well, if anybody wants to do a combine two of my obsessions and do a Sherlock Holmes podcast, I'm all in. Just let me know. We'll work something out. I already do a running podcast, which is one of the reasons Carlos gets me on here to do this, my Just a Runner's podcast. I keep doing that as long as I'm enjoying it. And I think you just got to find things that truly interest you, that you that perk your interest and keep you motivated to look into running. And so far, I'm still interested in making my running podcast. And I think when you get something like that, where you can really talk about, or I know there's other things you could do, I could do, and maybe I'd enjoy biking and hiking or something like that if I got into it the way I do running. But I guess you can only have so many things. And I was trying to, when I did bring this up, I was trying to think of something that wasn't closely related to running, too closely. I guess podcasting for me is, because often when I'm running alone, which does happen a lot lately, listening to podcasts. And now I've started playing the podcasts, or not podcast, but audio books of Sherlock Holmes now too. So, well, I'm about to hit the 5-minute mark, and I don't want to go over and get in trouble. So, take care, everybody.
Okay, my first passion is running. I just finished 15 miles on my way to the Green Bay virtual marathon. That is on my birthday, May 15th, and I'll be 57 years old. Today's run was tough. At least the last 2 miles were really tough. The first 13 were not so bad, but the last 2, I was pretty slow. So it was a struggle. But when we talk about passion, we talk about things that make us feel joy, that we love pursuing. And so for passions for me, other than running, I love to learn. I love to read and just take in more knowledge. Most of that knowledge is about psychology, the mind, and how the mind works, nutrition, and how that can really help elevate our health. And of course, running and the muscle versus mind, and the mind over muscle, all that mental stuff. I really love to dig into the psychology of it. Along with that, I love to coach others to reach their goals. So I love to actually help someone get from point A to point B by being there for them, by keeping them accountable, by giving them tips and tricks I've learned through my learnings and my own experience, and to help them really develop self-efficacy so that they can pursue their goals after we're finished with coaching themselves, and not have to necessarily have a coach. They may have a coach because they enjoy it, because it helps them with motivation.
Current pace,
Helps them
22:49.
It helps them with staying consistent, and they really just want that extra support system. I certainly like that myself. So I have fellow coaches, and we barter back and forth on basically coaching each other so that we can keep pursuing our passions to our best ability, even as we age. And I really think that's important, because that's what keeps us moving and keeps us going, is really that pursuit of passion in our lives, whether that be physical activity, a mental activity, any kind of craft. I like to crochet, so that's another thing I do. It's not necessarily a passion, but it's something I do to relax myself and to take care of things on a different level with my mind, because I can just let go when I crochet and not worry about anything else. It's very calming and relaxing. So I feel like the pursuit of passion has to be something that you want to do, that you enjoy doing, and that you gain something from it. So with that, again, I love to coach. I love to read. I'm reading lots of books right now about the psychology of weight loss and nutrition, the psychology of mind over muscle, and how the elite athletes actually use mind games and really go beyond the visualization pieces of mindfulness, but really use those mind games to really believe that they can be at the highest level of their endeavors. And I think that's really key to success in life and to really enjoying your life. For we're here only for a short time on earth. Why not make the most of it and really dig in and do what we personally love to do? So with that, I'm going to end. That's my take on passion, and I hope you enjoyed it. And with that, I'm going to get in the house and take a little break today and have some good food, have a beverage or two, because I just did 15 miles, and I'm proud of that. I've had a rough few weeks, so this is the longest I've gone in about 4 weeks.
Well, good morning. Here we are. It's, what day is it? It's Friday. Off to the doctor today, St. Stephen. And then I'm going to do 16K this morning and get her done. Okay. I hope everyone's having a good day. Okay. We're going to get a big storm here, they're telling us. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Maggie Cooper, and as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm English, and I live in the northwest of England on a place called the Wirral, which is opposite Liverpool, on the other side of the River Mersey from Liverpool. My other passion, other than running, is actually not the Beatles, as you might expect, living close to Liverpool, but actually reading. I really like reading books that are non-fiction, particularly books that really make you think. Things like Malcolm Gladwell, for example. I really like his books. I also like reading books about running. My favourite book that I have read about running is by Richard Askwith. It's called Zatopek, Today We Die a Little. Now, if you don't know much about Emil Zatopek, then I shall fill you in the details. He is a Czechoslovakian runner. He's just the most outstanding distance runner. Some would say he was the greatest ever, but I'm not sure whether that's necessarily true. But he lived in a certain era during the Cold War, really. And being in Czechoslovakia in the Cold War can't have been an easy thing. And what I found really interesting about the book is it wasn't just about his running, but it was about his whole life and the politics and the communism and the Soviets coming in and and how he stood up for what he thought was right during all those that sort of turbulent time. But so most notably from a running point of view, he set 18 world records and he was undefeated over the 10,000 metres for 6 years. The thing I found most interesting, I guess, about him is that in 1952 in the Helsinki Olympics, he won 3 gold medals over the 5,000, 10,000 and then the marathon. In the book, it describes the Olympic final of the 10,000 metres, actually not in 52 when he won those 3 gold medals, but in 48 where he won the 10,000 metres and he was second in the 5,000 metres. Now, Zatopek had discussed with his coach beforehand what speed he really needed to run, and they decided on 71-second laps should be enough to produce a winning time. So I'll just read from the book. If he could stick to that pace, victory would follow. So to help him, a signal had been agreed. If the pace was correct, his coach, watching from the stands, would wave a pair of white shorts each time Emil passed. And if Emil needed to go faster, a red vest would be waved, a task delegated to Dana, his wife. So Emil stuck to his pace, and each of the first 7 laps provoked the white shorts. Emil found this alarming, as each lap saw his rivals extending their advantage. First Heino, then Heinstrom, and then 14 others before Emil's struggling figure appeared way off the pace. The 8th lap saw yet another flutter of white. Emil was nearly 80 metres behind. Had he, or his coach, muddled up the signals? It took considerable willpower to resist the urge to go faster. And then, to his relief, on the 9th lap, Dana waved the red vest. Emil allowed himself to move up the field, progressing rapidly from 17th to 5th place. His sudden surge, made more conspicuous by the fact that many of the runners in front of him were starting to tire, caught the spectators' attention. The best informed amongst them would have known that, with 1948's best 10,000 metre time to his credit, Emil was a contender for gold. But to most people, he was just a clumsy Czechoslovak whose acceleration appeared to be costing him a superhuman amount of effort. As for Emil's fans back in Czechoslovakia, it was at around this point that radio coverage of the race was abruptly cut off. The delay to the start of the race meant that its allotted time was over, and no one wanted to risk their job by messing with the schedule. Back at Wembley, there was a buzz amongst the spectators as the 9th lap ended. Emil took the lead. It was an intriguing sight. Was this a genuine medal contender? Or just a comical foreigner out of his depth amongst serious athletes, flailing his way to the front through a sudden burst of misguided enthusiasm? Emil's running style was interesting, and that's one of the things that was noted. He always looked like he was putting in the maximum effort. I think I'm a little bit like that sometimes when I'm running. Your face is contorted with pain. The positive side of these contortions was that they made Emil extraordinarily exciting to watch. People noticed Emil wearing the number 203 hit the front. They noticed his clawing and straining, and they noticed the small Czechoslovak contingent in the crowd, mostly teammates, chanting with growing enthusiasm, "Zatopek! Zatopek!" A few non-Czechoslovaks joined in. Suddenly Emil had the wind of the crowd's excitement in his sails. I love how you can feel the excitement in the writing, and the whole book's like that. It just brings the whole thing to life. So yeah, that's my passion. That's my favourite book, Zatopek, Today We Die a Little. I hope you enjoy it too.
Average pace 6 minutes 35 seconds per kilometer. Halfway to your goal.
Pretty soon I'll be able to get outside and probably maybe get some longer runs in, which I'm looking forward to, and eventually get into some night runs here for sure. Or if the Halliburton Forest opens up in September, that would be great. I'm hearing that it might, so just wish us luck.